What's going on, people? Shreds here with Top Knot Productions, back after a very long and arduous fight with the War Master here. That cutscene kind of reminded me of another topic that's a little controversial, but I still want to talk about. That would be the topic of the death penalty. Kind of a heavy topic. If people don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But I'll give a brief synopsis of what my feelings on this situation are, and then move to something happier. Hey, what's up, guys? Essentially, what my feeling is, death penalty is a very sensitive topic. It's kind of along those same lines of politics and abortion, religion and government, stuff like that. This is maybe a cutscene, so I'm going to hang on a second. Not a cutscene.
Captain Titus, the orcs are running scared. What's happened?
The captain dealt with their war boss once and for all.
We have a chance now.
Bolster your defenses. The demon host will not be so
Okay.
easy to frighten off.
Good luck.
Death penalty.
All our hopes are with you.
In my opinion, death penalty should be used. It should be lethal injection, because that's the most humane. But it should be very limited on which crimes you can actually get the death penalty for. There's a lot of reasons behind it. I don't really want to go into detail because it would require me quoting facts I don't have memorized, and basically arguing with, preemptively making arguments for or against whatever your feelings may be.
This is Captain
And I'm not here to,
What is the status of
alienate
the
anyone or anything like that. But that's just my feeling on it is that if you disagree, tell in the comments why. Because I'm always interested in what people think. I try and be as intelligent as I can. A lot of people don't do that. It's willful ignorance was a thing that I had adopted myself for a while. Not an intentionally great period for me, but it was a thing. There was a time when intelligence for me was kind of a downer. You come to a point where these are Space Marines shooting at me. You realize things at a fairly young age, or at least I did, that life isn't at all sunshine and roses, essentially. There is a lot of terrible things going on, and you kind of have to deal with them. But being just one person, you can't deal with them. So it's an interesting thing to go through at a fairly young age. This was sophomore, junior year in high school that I kind of came to this realization. The way I dealt with it, I tried to think of things, and I got active in the community a little bit, but on the grand scale, it didn't seem to matter much whatever I did. So I kind of went into this period of willful ignorance where I essentially ignored the problems in the world, which definitely doesn't help anything, and kind of went on about ignoring things, which is a terrible thing to do, and it's a waste entirely. But it happened. I'm not one to wish about changing the past. I'll have the thoughts, sure. Will I ever act on them? No. If I could change the past, I probably wouldn't, to be completely honest, no matter what I might say in jest. The world is what it is. Time travel is not possible, so I'm not going to waste time thinking about it. It's just not within me to do so. Sure, it's fun to think about it in jest, but it's not a realistic thing, thus not worthwhile endeavor to put any thought into. There's other issues that can be going on. It's quite a thing to come to a harsh realization that the world is not what it's not the bill of goods that you were sold. I'm getting pretty deep in here to how I came into being as what you know, as the shreds that you see or hear before you. That hurts. I was raised in a very Christian background, so I got a lot of my core values from there. If you hear me talk about what I think it is to be a responsible adult or a man, it's a lot based on those core Christian values. I, however, am not a Christian. I wouldn't even consider myself spiritual at all. It's an odd thing to come to a realization that something you were taught and basically raised on has no scientific implementation. I'm trying to be very delicate here and not offend anyone, but at this point I'm essentially an atheist. I never really bought into the faith. If people want to argue with me about atheism and religion, stuff like that, please do so in the comments. I'm always looking for intelligent conversation. What I don't want is to alienate anyone or to have a lot of haters just because I've said I'm an atheist. Those people will probably be ignored, and I will hide their comments if I can. But that's neither here nor there with this discussion. I don't even remember what I'm discussing. I've got on such a tangent that I don't even know where I was. I was raised Christian, raised in the church up until about 12 or 13. At that point, there was some issues with my family in the church that we ended up actually leaving the church. And from there, I was kind of left to grow up on my own. As such, that's kind of where I got my entrance into my real indoctrination into video games, you could say. Because at that point is when I started to get heavy into Counter-Strike, and then shortly after that, World of Warcraft came out as the years went on, and I spent, much to my chagrin, a great many years in World of Warcraft. Not something I'd particularly like to discuss, because a lot of my youth was lost to that game. And I still kind of retain a love-hate relationship for it. Oh, I was not expecting that ambush. But it is what it is. I'm not going to shelter the past or try and hide anything. I'm not ashamed of who I am to any degree or what I've done. I may not always be the most intelligent person, but I am true to me, which is what I think is important, and I'm always looking to learn. So if you've got information you think I may not know, share it with me. I try and read all the comments. I try and give as many heartfelt and true-to-character responses. The character shreds is not really character. It's just kind of my online persona. Persona is not really an excellent choice of words for that one, because persona would denote that it is not who I actually am. But I don't change anything for these gameplays. I just want to tear that off and keep it and love it and stroke it. But this is who I am. It's not anyone else. It's not a fabrication. It's me. So any diverging pathways or multi-choice games, cutscene. We apparently have some dude summoning thing up here. I'm gonna go ahead and kill you right away. But anyway, what you hear and the choices I make in these games will reflect the choices I believe I would make in real life given these situations. So this is as true to life as I think I can be. If you, like I said previously, if you have issues with anything I've said, or you want to argue whatever points or have discussion about it, let me know. I'm always up for, as I said earlier, intelligent conversation. So the more I can do of that, the happier I am. Ooh, what? Don't shoot that at me. I was talking about willful ignorance earlier, and I got distracted by the game. But essentially, it's when you choose to neglect any intelligence or pursuit of information, or continue to grow essentially any brain capacity. You just give up on learning at all, completely neglect the world as it is, essentially, is what I think happens. This thing is not accurate at all, but it is a heavy machine gun. It's a terrible choice of weapon for this situation. But I did that for a while. I'm not proud of my choice, but I think it was a defining time for me as a person. I don't hide it at all, as I'm obviously telling people I have no contact with day to day on the internet about it. I try and be a very open book. So I went through this period from my junior, sophomore year in high school till about 2007, 2008. It's probably later than that. But around that time, no, because I didn't graduate. I graduated 2004. If you really want to collect all the details, I'm sure you can find out who I really am, but I don't think anyone cares. But essentially, probably as late as 2010, I was just kind of mulling through life, running the rat race, being a sheeple, and not really caring what happened in the world, anything like that. And it was around that time that I kind of ran into a situation where I felt that I wasn't quite living up to any potential or anything like that. I just kind of had become stagnant in the world, and I didn't like that feeling at all. So I began to seek things out that would challenge me, and a lot of times I would find myself watching documentaries or reading a philosophy book just because it was interesting. And that over time had forced me to kind of reinitialize my brain and begin to contemplate things more, which was surprising because I had been essentially living in ignorance that I had a greater mental potential than what I was using. At a very young age, I always excelled in all my classes, everything like that. But I was an arrogant child in the fact that I was bored because the classes were too easy. So at that point, I had shut everything off. So around that time frame when things sort of clicked for me, I began reading a lot more books. I began, researching things. And just kind of challenging myself day to day, which is something I recommend to everybody do. I have a feeling there's a boss fight coming up, by the way, because they usually give you a bunch of weapons and ammo right before a boss fight. So that's the basis I have for this. But if you kind of feel stagnant in your life, if you're not feeling challenged, if you're kind of feeling life is too easy and just sitting around, I challenge you to get out there and read some books. Try things you haven't tried before. Just challenge yourself to things you didn't think you could do before and see how well you do. With that challenge out there, I'll go ahead and end this episode. I want to thank you guys for joining me. My name is Shreds. Kind of bearing my soul, if there is such a thing, my character, to you guys. Let me know in the comments how you feel about anything we discussed, because I look forward to reading them, see if there's anything interesting out there. Once again, my name is Shreds. Thanks for joining me on Top Down Productions. Hope you all enjoyed it. Catch you later.